A journey to where nature is at her most magnificent and forbidding. To mysterious places where dazzling and diverse cultures flourish. Where China's numerous ethnic groups draw you into a world of color and vibrancy. Where distinct lifestyles, traditions, and crafts have survived the test of time. Join Travelogue on its 17-part ethnic odyssey, visiting more than 100 places across China. Ethnic Odyssey, an enlightened look at China's rich ethnic heritage.
On this episode of Travelogue, the world's highest plateau and its most mysterious people. With a long, unique history, meet the brave and devout Tibetans in Tibet. Variety of its landscape and diversity of its peoples. Welcome to Travelogue's Ethnic Minority Special. If you think about the minority of China, perhaps the most mysterious of all are the Tibetans. And that's why today we are in Tibet. And this place right now is actually the birthplace of Tibetan culture. These mountains, this plateau, everything around me is where it all happened originally. So get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. Welcome to Travelogue, I'm Yin. For most people, a journey to the Tibet Autonomous Region is a fantasy, something beyond their reach. For others, it's a lifelong dream that may just come true. And yet for others, it's a mission that defines their very existence. We'll be drifting downstream on the Yalong River from the birthplace of Tibetan civilization, Shannan, as far as Linzhi, and onwards to the heart of Tibet, the capital Lhasa. On our journey, we're accompanied by tourists and Buddhists. Tibet, with its average altitude of 4,000 meters, is called the roof of the world. Everyone who travels here has their own unique reasons for doing so, from exploring the unknown to attaining enlightenment. Religion is the foundation of Tibetan culture. Buddhism first came to the region during the reign of Songtsen Gampo in the 7th century. In the Tubo Kingdom, he laid the foundation for Buddhism by importing scriptures and building monasteries. His other great achievement was to cement the ties between Han and Tibetan peoples, which he did by marrying the Tang Dynasty princess, Princess Wencheng. Today, Tibetans live in a land where past and present merge. From traditional yak butter tea to international fare, religious paintings to postmodern art, it's a bizarre mix unlike any other. But one thing that's unchanged is the spirit of the people. In Shannan, the birthplace of ancient Tibetan culture, there stands the first palace built by the first Tibetan king. That was in the 2nd century. The Yongbalakan Palace is the oldest surviving example of Tibetan architecture. Wow, look at the crops over here. These were where the first Tibetans settled over 2,000 years ago. And you see, it's believed that they came here, had a Tibetan king, and built their first palace. Maybe that's why this area is so sacred. Legend has it that the original ancestors of the Tibetans were a sacred monkey and a mortal woman. Over the centuries, their descendants multiplied and formed a tribe and turned the valley into agricultural land. After the first king descended to earth from the heavens, he was followed a little later by the first sacred text, which fell on the roof of his palace. Buddhism made its way into Tibet from India, and the central figure is Sakyamuni, the founder. Still today, a sign of devotion among Buddhists is to recite the sutras, spin prayer wheels, and offer yak butter lamp for the oil lamps. The Yumbulakan Palace, geometric in shape, was the model based on which many other structures were later built. There's something magical about the towering place, perched on the mountain beneath the clouds and brilliant sun. Indescribable. Tibetans live in an area with an extensive river system and vast lakes. Naturally, they have learned to use these waterways as a means of transport. By tradition, small boats made of animal hide were used to cross those rivers. Although today's boats are a bit more sophisticated, the journey is no less difficult. After about 20 minutes, I'd say, we're sort of stuck in the middle of the river because, surprisingly, the river is only like this deep. Look at this guy, he's pushing us over because the sand is sort of stuck underneath. And we're sort of slowly gravitating this way and then hopefully get back onto the right path soon. Discovering the hidden wonders of Tibet is a real challenge. You'll need a car and a boat, along with some more rather interesting-looking vehicles. And not forgetting your own 2 feet, of course. Dust, bright sunshine, and the unpredictable weather all add to the difficulties. But an adventurous spirit and some endurance are usually enough to open up a world beyond your imagination. Of course, the reward for this arduous trek is amazing. To get to this, this very old and traditional monastery, I think is probably one of the most sacred journeys ever because it's said that all Tibetans in their lifetime have to go to this temple during their lifetime at some point. And some go by horse, they go by foot, they go on this thing, and even they go prostrating. They bow down on the floor and they walk all the way there. So it's quite a journey. Samye Monastery, built in the 8th century, was the first monastery in Tibet. It was commissioned by an Indian Buddhist master and combines elements